Good day everyone. Today, I'll be discussing the introduction to solar-powered home system. As we all know, electricity is a basic necessity in our daily lives, from lighting to charging of our devices to running appliances, and everything depends on power. However, traditional electricity mostly comes from fossil fuels, which are expensive and harmful to the environment. This is why solar energy is becoming more popular. A solar powered home system is a setup that uses energy from the sun to generate electricity uh, para sa mga residential or sa atin. It is clean, renewable, and sustainable. Instead of relying on power plants, a house can produce its own electricity by using solar panels. Meron tatlong configuration ang solar-powered home. Ito ay grid-tied system, off-grid system, and hybrid system. First, the grid-tied system, ito yung system na konektado ang bahay sa utility grid and gumagamit din siya ng solar energy. Ang grid system ay hindi gumagamit ng batteries. So yun lang ang downside niya. Second is the off-grid system. From the name itself, off-grid, ang system na ito ay hindi konektado sa utility grid. It relies completely on a solar panel and batteries. Ito ay common na ginagamit sa remote areas or mga lugar na walang electricity. Pangatlo, ang hybrid system. This combination of grid-tied and off-grid systems. Ang hybrid ay connected sa utility grid pero meron siyang backup na batteries. Kaya this system provides more flexibility and reliability. In summary, ang grid-tied ay connected sa grid, walang battery. Off-grid naman ay no grid with battery. Ang hybrid naman with grid and with battery. Pero sa video na ito, mas focused ang grid-tied solar system. So, this system ay commonly ginagamit niya sa residential homes. Ang definition nito ay, it is a solar power setup that is connected to the utility grid. It allows a home to generate electricity using solar panel while still being connected to the main power supply. In this system, solar panels converts sunlight into DC electricity. Then DC power is sent to a inverter which converts DC into AC electricity. The type used by the household appliances. The electricity produced is first used by the home. If there are excess power, may mga sobrang kuryente, ma-export ito pabalik sa grid. On the other hand, if the solar production is not enough, kulang o kaya maulap, ganun, ang system ay automatic na kukuha sa utility grid. One important feature of this system is net metering. This means that any excess electricity sent to the grid can be credited, reducing the electricity bill. So, ganun kahalaga ang net metering sa grid-tied. Kasi, dito nakikita na yung mga binibigay natin sa utility grid ay nakikredit at nababawas sa electricity bill natin. However, since this system does not have batteries, it cannot provide power during a blackout. For safety reasons, it is automatically shut down to prevent backflow of electricity. Kapag brownout, hindi pwedeng may yung solar natin ang magbibigay ng power sa utility kasi hindi dapat ganun nag-work. Ang grid-tied solar system, let's talk about now the diagram of the grid-tied solar system. In a typical diagram, we can see several important components. First on the list is the solar panels. These are installed on the roof and these are responsible for collecting sunlight and converting it into DC electricity. Next is the DC wiring and protection devices, such as DC circuit breaker and surge protection devices. This ensures the safety and the proper flow of electricity. After that, the DC power goes to the grid-tied inverter. This one is the most important components dahil kino-convert niya ang DC into AC. After sa inverter, ang AC electricity ay dadaan sa AC breaker and protection system, parang surge protection devices din. And pupunta na yung kuryente sa main panel board of the house. From there, sa panel board, electricity is distributed to all appliances. We also have the net meter, which is connected between the house and the utility grid. These devices measures both the electricity consumed from the grid and the electricity sent back to it. Finally, the system is connected to the utility grid, which acts as both a backup and a receiver of excess energy. Paano ba gumagana ang grid-tied solar system? To summarize the flow, during daytime, kapag may araw, solar panel generates electricity. Power is used by the house and the excess power goes to the grid. Kapag nighttime naman or low sunlight, kaya maulap, solar production is low or even walang production, then the house gets electricity from the grid. To summarize all of that, solar-powered home systems are a great solution for reducing electricity cost and helping the environment. Among the three configurations, the grid-tied system is the most widely used because it is cost-effective, and it is efficient. However, it has limitations, especially during the power outages. This is why understanding the different types of system is important in choosing the right setup.
So, good day everyone. So, today pag-usapan natin ang tungkol sa grid-tied solar system. So, ito ay isang uri ng solar power system na gumagamit ng energy mula sa araw para makapagbigay ng kuryente sa bahay o sa building habang nakakonekta pa rin sa electric utility grid ng Meralco o iba pang distribution utility. So, sa panahon ngayon, tumataas ang demand sa kuryente at tumataas din ang electric bill. Kaya mas maraming tao ang naghahanap ng alternative source of energy. Isa sa pinakapopular ngayon ay ang solar energy dahil ito ay renewable, environmental friendly, at nakatulong makatipid sa gastos sa kuryente. So, dito ipapaliwanag natin kung paano gumagana ang grid-tied solar system. Ano-ano ang pangunahing components ito, paano nakakabuo ng electricity ang solar panels, at ano ang iba pang uri na solar panels na ginagamit ngayon. At talakayin din natin ang iba't ibang uri ng solar panels connection at kung ano ang naapekto nito, ang voltage, ang current, at power output ng system. So, ang grid-tied solar system ay isang solar setup na directly nakakonect sa utility grid. Ibig sabihin, habang gumagamit tayo ng solar energy, connected pa rin tayo sa regular na supply ng kuryente mula sa electric company. Kapag maaraw at sapat ang energy na ginagawa ng solar panels, ang bahay ay maaaring gumamit ng solar panel bilang pangunahing source ng electricity. So dahil dito, bababa ang konsumo mula sa utility company. Kaya nababawasan ang electric bill ng mga naka-solar. So, isa sa mga katangian ng grid-tied system ay wala itong battery backup. Hindi ito nag-store ng excess energy sa batteries. Sa halip, kapag mas marami ang nagpo-produce ng kuryente kaysa sa kailangan ng bahay, sa sobrang electricity ay pinapadala pabalik sa utility grid. Ang proseso ito ay tinatawag na net metering, kung saan maaaring magkaroon ng credit ang consumer depende sa excess energy na nabibabalik sa grid. Kapag kulang naman ang solar energy, halimbawa kapag gabi o maulan, automatic na uuwa ng kuryente mula sa utility grid para tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang supply ng electricity sa loob ng bahay. So, isa pang importanteng feature nito ay ang automatic shutdown during brownout. So, kapag nawalan ng kuryente ang utility grids, nagsha-shutdown din ang inverter para maiwasan ang tinatawag na backfeeding. Ginagawa ito para maging safe. So, next ang system diagram. So, makikita sa slide nito ang basic diagram ng grid-tied solar system at ng flow ng electricity mula sa araw hanggang sa loob ng ating bahay. So, una, ang solar panels. Ang kumukuha ng sunlight sa tulong ng photovoltaic cells, ino-convert nila ang solar energy into direct current o DC electricity. And pagkatapos nito, ang DC power ay dadaloy pupunta sa inverter at ang inverter naman ay ang isa sa pinakamahalagang bahagi ng system dahil dito, ito ang nagko-convert ng DC electricity into alternating current o AC electricity. Siyang ginagamit na karamihan sa appliances tulad ng electric fan, television, refrigerator, ilaw, at marami pa iba. So, mula sa inverter, ang AC power ay pinapadala sa electrical panels sa loob ng bahay para magamit ng ating mga appliances at mga devices. So, kapag sobra ang electricity na nagagawa ng solar panels, ang excess energy ay mapupunta sa utility grid. Ngunit, kung kulang naman ang solar production, especially during nighttime o cloudy weather, kukuha ang bahay ng additional electricity mula sa utility grid. So, sa madaling salita, nagtutulungan ang solar system at utility grid para masiguradong tuloy-tuloy ang supply ng kuryente sa ating bahay. So, next, ang parts and functions. So, next, ang parts and function. So, dito naman makikita natin ang iba't ibang parts ng grid-tied solar system at ang kanilang mga functions. So, unahin natin ang solar panels. Ito ang pinakapangunahing component na kumukuha ng sunlight at nagpo-produce ng electricity. Binubuo ng maraming cells na gawa sa semiconductor materials tulad ng silicon. At ang pangalawa ay ang inverter. Ang inverter ay tinatawag na heart of the system dahil kino-convert nito ang DC power into AC power. Kung wala inverter, hindi magagamit ng bahay ang electricity mula sa solar panels. Kasi DC ang nagpo-produce ng ating solar panels. At pangatlo, ang mounting structure. Ito ang sumusuporta at tumahawak sa solar panels. Mahalaga ito dahil kailangan tama ang angle at ang posisyon ng panels para makakuha ng maximum sunlight. At ang pangapat ay ang net metering o ang net meter o tinatawaging bidirectional meter. Ito ang nag-measure ng electricity na kinukuha mula sa grid at electricity na ibinabalik din sa grid. Dahil dito nalalaman kung gaano kalaki ang konsumo at savings ng consumer. At meron ding wiring and protection devices tulad ng circuit breaker, disconnect switches na tumutulong para maging safe at organize ang buong system. Lahat ng components na ito ay nagtutulungan upang makabuo ng efficient, reliable at safe na solar power system. So ngayon naman, dapat tayo sa solar panel connections. So pinapakita naman sa slide na ito ang iba't ibang paraan ng pag-connect ng solar panels. So halimbawa, panel ay may rating na 12 volts at 10 amps. Una, ang series connection. Sa series connection, pinagdudugtong ang positive terminal na isang panel sa negative terminal na nakasunod na panel. Setup na ito, tumataas ang voltage habang napapanatiling pareho ang current. Halimbawa, dalawang 12 volts panels sa series ay magiging 24 volts. Ang pangalawa ay ang parallel connection. Sa parallel connection naman, pinagsasama-sama ang positive terminal at ganoon din sa negative terminal. Sa setup na ito, mananatiling pareho ang voltahe pero tumataas ang current. Halimbawa, dalawang panels, tig 10 amps, magiging 20 amps ito. Ang last, ang pangatlo, ang series parallel connection. Ito ay combination ng series at parallel setup para makuha ang desired voltage at desired current ng system. Madalas itong ginagawa sa mas malalaking solar installation. Mahalaga na tama ang connection dahil naapektuhan nito ang performance, efficiency, at compatibility ng solar system sa inverter at load requirements. So, next naman, ang types of solar panels. So, may tatlong pangunahing uri ng solar panels na karaniwang ginagamit natin ngayon. Una, ang monocrystalline solar. Ito ang pinaka-efficient na type dahil gawa ito sa single crystal silicon. Karaniwan itong kulay ay black at mas mataas ang power output kahit maliit lang ang space. Mas mahal ito pero mas matagal ang lifespan at mas maganda ang performance lalo na sa limited roof space. Pangalawa, ang polycrystalline solar panels. Gawa naman ito sa multiple silicon crystals kaya mas mura ang production cost. Kulay bluish naman ito at medyo mas mababa ang efficiency compared sa monocrystalline. Pero popular pa rin dahil ito ang mas affordable. And pangatlo ay ang thin film solar panels. Ito ay manipis, lightweight at flexible. Madali itong install at maaaring gamitin sa curved surface. Ngunit ito ang may pinakamababang efficiency kaya nangangailangan ng mas malaking space para makapag-produce ng parehong power output. So, bawat uri ng solar panel ay may sariling advantage at disadvantage. Depende sa budget, location, at energy needs ng isang users. So, next naman, ang comparison of solar panels. So, sa slide na ito, makikita natin ang comparison ng tatlong uri ng solar panels. Una, ang monocrystalline ay may pinakamataas na efficiency at pinakamatagal na lifespan. Mas maganda rin ang performance nito kahit mainit ang panahon. Ang disadvantage lang nito ay mas mataas ang presyo kesa sa ibang. Next, ang polycrystalline naman ay mas affordable at mas magandang option para sa mga gustong makatipid sa initial installation cost. Ngunit, mas mababa ng kaunti ang efficiency nito kumpara sa monocrystalline. Samantala, ang crispy naman ay ang pinakamura at pinaka-flexible, madali itong i-install at magaan. Pero dahil mababa ang efficiency, kailangan nito ang malaking area, space, para magawa ng sapat na electricity. So, sa pagbili ng solar panels, mahalagang isinaalang-alang ang budget, available space, at desired energy output. So, next naman, ang solar panel details. So, sa slide na ito, pag-uusapan naman natin ang ilang importanteng details tungkol sa solar panels. So, ang solar panel cells, o isang solar cells, ay karaniwan nag-produce ng around 0.5 volts lamang. Kaya maraming solar cells ang pinagsasama-sama para makabuo ng isang solar panel. Ang small solar cells, o small solar panel, ay usually rated at 12 volts, habang ang larger panels ay maaaring maging 24 volts o mas mataas pa. Halimbawa, ang isang 20 volts solar panel ay maaaring mag-produce ng around 14 to 18 volts kapag ginagamit na under load. O ito ay isa pa para mag-charge ang battery o mag-supply ng power sa system. Pag walang load o open circuit condition, maaaring mas mataas pa ang voltahe at aabot ito ng around 20 to 26 volts. Normal lang ito dahil walang current na dumadaloy palabas sa loob ng panel. So, mahalaga ang pag-intindi sa voltage at current ratings para maiwasan ang overloading, para maging compatible ang solar panels sa inverter at iba pang components. So, next naman, ang connection effects. So, pinapakita naman sa slide nito kung paano na naaapektuhan ng iba't ibang connection ang output ng solar array. Ang solar array ay parang battery system kung saan pwedeng dagdagan ang voltage o current depende sa paraan ng connection. So, sa series connection, tumataas ang voltage habang pareho lamang ang current. Ito ay useful kapag kailangan ng mas mataas na voltage para sa inverter. So, sa parallel connection naman, tumataas ang current habang pareho lamang ang voltahe. Ito ay mas useful kapag kailangan ng mas malaking current capacity. Kapag mas marami pang solar panels ang dinadagdag sa system, tumataas din ang total power. Dahil dito, mas maraming appliances ang kayang suportahan ng solar system. Napakalaga na tamang design at computation ng connection upang masiguradong efficient, balance, at safe ang operation ng buong solar power system. So, in conclusion, ang grid-tied solar system ay isang efficient, practical, at environmental friendly na paraan sa paggamit ng renewable energy. Sa pamamagitan ng solar panels, nahagawa tayo ng sariling electricity gamit lamang ang energy mula sa araw. Dahil ito sa utility, dahil connected ito sa utility grid, may continuous supply pa rin ng kuryente kahit wala ang solar production. Natutunan din natin ang iba't ibang uri ng components ng system tulad ng solar panels, inverter, mounting structure, at net meter. Pati na rin ang kanilang mga function. Napag-aralan din natin ang iba't ibang uri ng solar panels connection at type ng solar panels kasama ang kanilang mga advantage at disadvantage. Bagamat wala itong battery backup, Malaking tulong pa rin ang grid-tied system sa pagbabawas ng electric bill at sa pagbawas ng paggamit ng fossil fuels na nakakasama sa ating environment. So, in overall, ang solar energy ay hindi lamang nakatulong sa pagtitipid, kundi nagbibigay rin ng mas malinis at mas sustainable na future para sa susunod na henerasyon.
My name is Gian Myron Obregos. My report is about types of inverter. Una, ano nga ba ang inverter? Ang inverter ay isang electrical device na nagko-cover ng DC output mula sa solar panels papunta sa AC na ginagamit ng mga appliances sa mga bahay. Since ang solar panel ay natural na nagpo-produce ng DC electricity, hindi ito directly compatible sa karamihan ng household appliances dahil AC ang kailangan ng mga ito. Bukod sa pag-convert ng DC to AC, ang inverter ay responsible rin na magmamatch ng electrical output sa power supply ng bahay at utility grid. Minamatch nito ang voltage, frequency, at phase upang maging compatible sa electricity coming from the grid. Una, central inverter. Ang central inverter ay isang type of inverter kung saan maraming solar panels ang nakakonect sa isang malaking inverter unit. Sa system na ito, lahat ng DC electricity mula sa solar panels ay pinagsasama mula bago i-convert sa AC power. Ang central inverter ay ideal for large and unshaded residential roofs or commercial installations dahil mas efficient ito kapag pare-pareho ang sunlight exposure ng mga panels. Kapag walang shading from trees, buildings, or other obstructions, mas stable ang performance ng system. Sa madaling salita, ang central inverter ay magandang choice para sa mga malaking solar installation na may sapat na space at consistent sunlight exposure, pero less flexible ito compared to microinverters dahil wala itong panel level optimization and monitoring. Next. Next, microinverter. Ang microinverter ay isang maliit na inverter na nakakabit directly sa bawat solar panel. Ibig sabihin, bawat panel ay may sariling inverter na nagko-convert ng DC electricity into AC electricity individually. Dahil bawat panel ay may may sariling inverter, mas optimize ang performance ng bawat solar panel. Halimbawa, kung ang isang panel ay natatakpan ng shade, marumi, o may issue, hindi ito gano'ng maapektuhan ng performance ng ibang panels. Karaniwan itong ginagamit sa grid tie systems dahil ang output nito ay AC na synchronized with the utility grid. Maaari rin itong gamitin sa some battery backup system through AC coupled setups. Pero nangangailangan ito ng compatibility battery inverter o energy storage system. Sa madaling salita, ang microinverter ay magandang option para sa homeowners na gusto ng may efficient at flexible solar system, lalo na kung may shading concerns or gusto ng individual monitoring ng solar panels. Next naman ay grid tie inverter. Ang grid tie inverter ay isang inverter designed to connect the solar power system directly to the utility grid. Ang main function nito ay i-convert ang DC electricity mula sa solar panel papuntang AC electricity at i-synchronize ito sa utility power in terms of voltage, frequency, and phase. Dahil connected ito sa utility grid, pwede nitong isupply ang solar power sa bahay at i-export ang excess energy pabalik sa grid through net metering. Ang grid tie inverter ay automatically nagsha-shutdown kapag may power interruption or brownout. Ito ay dahil sa built-in safety feature na tinatawag na anti-island protection. Kapag nawalan ng utility power, automatic ihinto ang inverter sa pag-export ng electricity. Ginagawa ito para maiwasan ng patuloy na pagdaloy ng kuryente sa power lines habang may maintenance o repair ang utility workers. Kung hindi ito magsha-shutdown, maaaring magkaroon ng electrical hazard sa linemen na nag-aayos ng linya. Sa madaling salita, ang grid tie inverter ay efficient para sa grid-connected solar systems, pero for safety reasons, automatic itong nagsha-shutdown. Kapag nawalan ng grid power, kahit maaraw at may solar panels ka, kung brownout at pure grid tie lang ang system mo, wala ka pa rin power unless may battery backup or hybrid system. Next, pure sine. Ang pure sine wave inverter ay isang inverter na nagpo-produce ng electrical output na halos kapareho ng electricity mula sa utility grid. Ang waveform nito ay smooth at consistent, kaya compatible ito sa halos lahat ng appliances at electrical devices. Dahil malinis ang output nito, ang pure sine wave inverter ay commonly used in system that require stable and reliable power, especially sa grid-connected systems at applications with sensitive equipment. Ang pure sine wave inverter ay highly recommended for computers and laptops, televisions, medical equipment, refrigerators, air conditioners, washing machines, at appliances with AC motors. Bakit importante ito sa AC motors? Kapag hindi smooth ang electrical waveform, maaaring magkaroon ng humming noise, overheating, reduced efficiency, at shorter appliance lifespan. Dahil dito, mas safe gamitin ang pure sine wave inverter para sa sensitive appliances. Maraming solar at power solution companies tulad ng Renogy ang nag-offer ng iba't ibang pure sine wave inverters with different power capacities depending on user needs. Examples, 1,000 watts, 2,000 watts, 3,000 watts, and above, mas pinipili ito ng mga homeowners at solar users dahil sa reliability at compatibility nito sa modern appliances. Next, modified sine wave inverter. Ang modified sine wave inverter ay isang type of inverter na gumagamit ng AC output na hindi smooth tulad ng pure sine wave. Instead na smooth sinusoidal waveform, ang output nito ay may stair-step or square-like pattern. Habang nag-ooperate ang polarity nito, ay abruptly switching from positive to negative, kaya hindi ito continuous at smooth ang waveform. Dahil hindi smooth ang waveform, maaaring magkaroon ng humming or buzzing sound sa appliances. Extra heat generation, reduced efficiency, possible malfunction ng sensitive electronics. Particularly affected ay audio systems, medical devices, computers at appliances with AC motors. Halimbawa, ang electric fan, refrigerator, or microwave ay maaaring mag-produce ng unusual noise or mas mabilis uminit. Ang advantages, much cheaper kaysa pure sine wave inverter, more affordable for small systems, at suitable for basic appliances. Ang disadvantages naman nito, noise operation, lower efficiency, not ideal for sensitive equipment, at can shorten lifespan of some appliances. Modified sine wave inverters are commonly used for basic lighting, simple charges, small fans, low-cost backup systems. Hindi ito recommended para sa refrigerators, air conditioners, medical equipment, laptops, at high-end electronics. Sa madaling salita, ang modified sine wave inverter ay budget-friendly option dahil mas mura ito, pero kapalit nito ay lower power quality. Maganda ito para sa simple at non-sensitive loads. Pero kung gusto mo ng cleaner at safer electricity for appliances, mas recommended pa rin ang pure sine wave inverter.
So pag-uusapan man natin ngayon ang tungkol sa protection and control devices of a solar-powered home. Habang mas dumadami ang gumagamit ng solar energy system sa mga bahay, mahalagang maintindihan natin na hindi lang solar panels at inverter ang bumubuo sa isang maayos na solar power system. Kailangan din natin ng mga protection at control devices upang masiguro ang kaligtasan, maayos na operasyon, at mahabang buhay ng buong system. Ang mga devices na tatalakayin natin ay DC circuit breaker, AC circuit breaker, DC surge protection device o SPD, AC surge protection device o SPD, time delay switch, and programmable timer switch. So sa discussion na ito, aalamin natin kung ano-ano ang function ng bawat isa, paano sila gumagana, bakit sila mahalaga at saan sila ginagamit sa isang solar powered home. Unahin natin ang DC circuit breaker. Ang ibig sabihin ng DC ay direct current. Ito ang klase ng kuryente na nanggagaling mismo sa solar panels at kadalasan ay dumadaan muna sa charge controller at batteries bago maarating sa inverter. Ang pangunahing function ng DC circuit breaker ay protektahan ang solar system laban sa overcurrent o sobrang taas na agos ng kuryente. Kapag may short circuit, overload o fault sa DC side ng system, automatic nitong puputulin ang daloy ng kuryente upang maiwasan ang sunog, pagkasira ng kagamitan o electrical accident. Karaniwan itong inilalagay sa pagitan ng solar panel at charge controller at battery, and battery at inverter. Mahalagang tandaan na special ang DC circuit breaker dahil mas mahirap patayin ang DC current kumpara sa AC current. Bakit? Dahil sa AC, pabago-bago ang direksyon ng current at may tinatawag na zero crossing. Ibig sabihin, may sandali na bumababa sa zero ang current kaya mas madaling maputol ang arco o spark. Pero sa DC, tuloy-tuloy lang ang daloy ng current sa iisang direksyon. Kaya mas malakas ang arc o spark kapag pinutol ang circuit. Kaya ang DC breakers ay especially designed para kayanin ang ganitong kondisyon. Halimbawa, kapag nagkaroon ng short circuit sa solar panel wiring at walang DC breaker, pwedeng uminit ng sobra ang wires at magdulot ng sunog. Kapag nagkaroon ng short circuit, pero kung may DC breaker, automatic nitong i-disconnect ang faulty circuit para maprotektahan ang buong system. Isa pang advantage ng DC breaker ay pwede rin itong gamitin bilang manual disconnect switch kapag may maintenance o kaya naman troubleshooting. Kaya napakahalaga ng DC circuit breaker sa safety ng solar powered home. And pangalawa naman is ang tinatawag natin na AC circuit breaker. Ang AC o alternating current naman ang klase ng kuryente na ginagamit ng karamihan sa appliances sa bahay tulad ng electric fan, refrigerator, aircon, television, washing machine, lighting system at iba pa. Matapos i-convert ng inverter ang DC power mula sa solar panels ito into AC power, dito na papasok ang role ng AC circuit breaker. Ang function nito ay paprotektahan ang side ng solar powered home laban sa overload, short circuit, at electrical faults. Kapag sobra ang current na dumadaloy sa linya, automatic na magtitrip ang breaker upang maputol ang kuryente. Halimbawa, kapag maraming appliances ang sabay-sabay na ginagamit at lumampas sa rated current ng circuit, maaaring uminit ang wires. Kung walang AC breaker, pwedeng masira ang appliances o magkaroon ng electrical fire. Pero dahil may breaker, magtitrip ito at puputulin ang supply para maiwasan ang aksidente. Karaniwan nating makikita ang AC circuit breaker sa distribution panel o breaker panel ng bahay. May iba't ibang klase rin ng AC breakers tulad ng single pole breaker, double pole breaker at main breaker. Ang main breaker ay nagsisilbing pangunahing disconnect ng buong bahay. Mahalaga rin ang tamang sizing ng breaker. Kapag undersize ang breaker, madali itong mag-trip kahit normal lang ang load. Kapag oversize naman, baka hindi agad ito mag-trip dahil kahit delikado na ang current. Kaya sa electrical engineering, mahalaga ang proper computation at tamang breaker selection. Susunod naman ang DC surge protection device. Ang surge ay biglang pagtaas ng voltahe o voltage spike. Kadalasan sa nito ay kidlat o lighting, switching operations, sudden changes sa electrical system. Dahil exposed sa labas ang solar panels, mas mataas ang posibilidad na tamaan o maapektuhan sila ng lightning surges. Kahit hindi direktang tamaan ng kidlat, pwede pa rin magkaroon ng induced surge voltage. Ang trabaho ng DC SPD ay protektahan ang solar panels, charge control, batteries, at inverter laban sa sobrang voltahe. Paano ito gumagana? Kapag normal ang voltage, walang ginagawa ang SPD. Pero kapag may surge, mabilis nitong dinadivert ang sobrang voltahe papunta sa grounding system upang hindi makarating sa sensitive equipment. Parang bodyguard ang SPD ng electrical system. Halimbawa, kapag may malakas na kidlat malapit sa bahay at walang SPD, pwedeng masira ang inverter o charge control. Ang inverter pa naman ay isa sa pinakamahal at pinakamahalagang bahagi ng solar system or solar panel system. Pero kung may DC SPD, mababawasan ang risk ng damage. Kaya mahalagang may proper grounding system dahil doon din dinadivert ng SPD ang excess voltage. Ang DC SPD ay kadalasang inilalagay sa pagitan ng solar panel at inverter para mabawasan or mai-divert agad ng DC-SPD yung sobrang voltahe papunta doon sa grounding system. Sa combiner box, malapit sa charge controller. Sa modern solar installation, recommended na gumamit ng SPD, lalo na sa areas na madalas tamaan ng redline. Pang-apat naman ay ang AC surge protection device. Ngayon naman ay ang AC surge protection device, katulad ng DC SPD, ang purpose nito ay protektahan ang system laban sa voltage surge. Pero ang kaibahan nito ay para naman sa AC side ng bahay. Pinoprotektahan nito ang home appliances, AC distribution system, inverter output, sensitive electronics. Halimbawa, kapag may sudden power surge mula sa utility line o galing sa lightning, pwedeng masira ang TV, refrigerator, computer, or iba pang appliances. Ang AC-SPD ang sasalo sa sobrang voltahe na magda-divert nito sa ground. Karaniwang ini-install ito sa mga main distribution panel, malapit sa inverter output, at sa load center. Napakahalaga nito lalo na ngayon dahil maraming appliances ang gumagamit ng sensitive electronic circuits. Ang modern appliances kasi ay mas mabilis masira kapag nakaranas ng voltage spike. Isa pang mahalagang tatandaan natin ay hindi sapat ang ordinary extension cords, cord surge protector para sa buong bahay. Mas mainam pa rin ang properly installed AC SPD sa electrical panel dahil mas comprehensive ang protection nito. Sa madaling salita, DC SPD protects the DC side. AC SPD protects the AC side. Pareho silang mahalaga para sa total protection ng solar powered home. And panglima is yung time delay switch. Sunod naman natin pag-usapan is yung time delay switch. Ang time delay switch ay isang control device na nagpapaliban o nagdi-delay ng pag-on o pag-off ng isang electrical load. Ibig sabihin, hindi agad-agad bubukas o mamamatay ang appliances pagkatapos makatanggap ng signal. May specific time muna bago ito mag-operate. Bakit ito mahalaga? Sa electrical systems, may mga pagkakataon na kailangan nating maiwasan ang biglang pag-start o pag-stop ng equipment. Halimbawa, kapag sabay-sabay nag-start ang malalaking appliances tulad ng aircon, water pump o motor, pwede magkaroon ng malaking inrush current. Ang inrush current ay sobrang taas na current sa unang pag-start ng motor. Kapag walang tamang control, pwede magdulot ito ng voltage drop o stress sa system. Dito pumapasok ang time delay switch. Pwede nitong i-delay ang pag-start ng isang load para hindi sabay-sabay ang operation ng mga appliances. Sa solar-powered home, ginagamit ito upang maiwasan ang overload, mabawasan ang stress sa inverter, makontrol ang operation ng heavy loads, and syempre maprotektahan natin yung mga batteries. Halimbawa, pagkatapos bumalik ng kuryente mula sa brownout, hindi agad sabay-sabay bubukas ang lahat ng appliances. Sa halip, may delay muna bago mag-start ang ibang equipment. Mas nagiging stable tuloy ang electrical system. May dalawang common types ng time delay. Meron tayong tinatawag na on delay. Delay ang pag-on ng load. Off delay. Delayed ang pag-off ng load. Simple man itong device, pero malaking tulong ito sa system protection at efficiency sa solar-powered home. And 6 naman is yung programmable timer switch. Ang huli nating device ay ang programmable timer switch. Ito ay isang smart control device na kayang mag-on at mag-off ng appliances base sa nakaprogram na oras. Sa madaling salita, automatic nitong kinokontrol ang operation ng loads ayon sa schedule Halimbawa, pwede mong i-program na mag-on ang outdoor lights ng 6 p.m., mag-off ito ng 6 a.m., mag-operate ang water pump sa specific hours, and mag-charge ang battery sa tamang oras. Napaka-useful nito sa solar-powered home dahil nakakatulong itong makatipid sa energy at ma-manage ang paggamit ng kuryente. Halimbawa, kung limited lang ang battery capacity, pwede nating i-schedule ang ibang appliances na gumana lang kapag mataas ang solar production during daytime. Nakakatulong rin ito para maiwasan ang battery over discharge, mapahaba ang battery life, mas mapababa ang electricity consumption, at mas maging efficient ang paggamit ng solar energy. May digital at analog types ng programmable timer switch. Ang digital type ay mas advanced dahil mas maraming scheduling options. Ang ibang programmable timers ay may daily schedule, weekly schedule, automatic repeat function, at syempre meron din itong backup battery memory. Sa modern smart homes, kadalasan ay integrated na ito sa automation systems. Bilang pagtatapos ng ating main discussion, mahalagang ma-realize natin na ang isang maayos na solar-powered home ay hindi lang basta tungkol sa pagkakabit ng panel sa bubong o pag-iipon ng kuryente sa battery. Bilang mga electrical engineering students, alam natin na ang tunay na husay na isang system ay nakadepende sa kung gaano ito ka-safe at ka-reliable sa oras ng aberya. Ito ay tungkol sa tamang balanse ng protection and control. Muli nating balikan ang mga ituturing natin na bodyguards. Ang DC at AC circuit breakers, ang ating main defense laban sa overcurrent at short circuits. Ang mga device na sumasalo ng bala para hindi masunog ang ating wires. Ang DC at AC SPDs, ang ating mga invincible shield laban sa bagsik na kidlat at biglang voltage surge na pwedeng pumatay sa ating mamahaling inverters. Ang time delay switch, ang naninigurado na stable ang kuryente bago ito pumasok sa ating appliances, lalo na sa mga demotor nating gamit. At syempre ang programmable timer switch na nagbibigay sa atin ng smart control para mas maging efficient at tipid ang ating energy consumption. Ang pag-i-invest sa mga protection devices na ito ay maliit na halaga lamang kumpara sa seguridad ng inyong pamilya at sa investment na ilalaan ninyo para sa solar system. Pero alam nyo ba na ang pagiging safe at protected ng inyong system ay ang unang step para sa isang mas malaking benepisyo? Kapag kampante na tayo na stable ang ating setup, pwede na natin pag-usapan kung paano tayo kikita o lalong makakatipid gamit ang grid. Dito na papasok ang isang napaka-interesting concept sa renewable energy. Paano kung ang sobrang kuryente na hindi mo maubos ay ibalik natin sa power utility company gaya ng Meralco at ang kapalit nito ay credit o bawas sa iyong bill? Di ba't exciting? Iyan ang tatalakayin natin ng malaliman sa susunod nating video na net metering system.
What is net metering? The prosumer revolution. The evolution of the grid. For the past century, the relationship between us and the power company was a one-way street. They generated the power in a massive plant far away, and we simply consume it. Net metering is the system that changes this dynamic. It allows you to become a prosumer, a producer, and a consumer at the same time. The technical flow. If you have a grid-tied solar system, your panels produce direct current. Your inverter turns that into alternating current for your home. On a sunny day, if your house only needs 1 kilowatt but your solar panels are pumping 5 kilowatt, that extra 4 kilowatt doesn't stay in your house. It actually gets pushed out through your electric meter and into the local power lines to be used by your neighbors. Net metering is the legal framework that counts that 4 kilowatts contribution and ensure you get credited for it. Physical batteries for solar, like the Tesla Powerwall, are still quite expensive and have a limited lifespan. Net metering essentially allows you to use the entire national grid as your virtual battery. You store your excess energy in the grid during the day, and you withdraw it for free when you turn on your lights at night. Isipin nyo, ang kuryente ay parang tubig. Dati, gripo lang ang meron tayo. Kumukuha lang tayo ng tubig sa Meralco or Neco. Pero sa net metering, nagkaroon ka na rin ng sarili mong balon. Kapag umaapaw ang tubig sa balon mo, pinapadaloy mo ito pabalik sa main pipe ng barangay nyo. Ang net metering ang nagsisilbing timbangan para malaman kung gaano karaming tubig ang binigay mo, na pagdating ng gabi at kumuha ka uli ng tubig sa kanila, hindi ka na sisingilin ng buo. It's about balance, netting what you give versus what you take. Is net metering already available in the Philippines? Net metering isn't just an option. In the Philippines, it is a law. It was established under Republic Act 9513 or the Renewable Energy Act of 2008. While it took few years for the Energy Regulatory Commission to perfect the guidelines, the program has been operational since 2013. The 2026 landscape. As of today, in 2026, the program has reached a golden age. In the early years, DUs were hesitant and the application process was a nightmare. It could take 6 to 12 months. Today, thanks to the DOE circulars on the ease of doing business, the process has been digitized. The process has been digitized. Most DUs now have dedicated RE desks or online portals to handle these applications. Whether you are in Metro Manila or even in provinces served by smaller electric cooperatives like NECO, the law is the same. They are legally mandated to offer this service. If a co-op says they don't have it, they are actually in violation of national energy laws. Yes, matagal na siyang available. Pero noong una, drawing lang siya para sa marami dahil sa bagal ng paperwork. Pero ngayon, seryoso ang gobyerno. Mayroon na tayong tinatawag na EVOS or Energy Virtual One-Stop Shop. Ito ay isang online system kung saan pwedeng i-track ng Department of Energy kung pinapatagal ba ng electric company o yung application nyo. Mandatory ito, walang kawala ang mga utility companies. Dahil gusto ng bansa natin na lumipat tayo sa clean energy para hindi tayo laging apektado ng mahal na presyo ng coal at crudo sa ibang bansa. What benefit will I get if I go into net metering? The biggest benefit is the peso credit. When you export power, the DU buys it from you at the generation charge rate. When you buy power at night, you pay the full retail rate. While it is in 1:1 price swap, those credits add up fast. They can wipe out a huge chunk of your monthly bill. Multi-site metering. This is a 2026 game changer. If you have a solar-powered home in Quezon City and a small condo or business in Makati, you potentially offset the bill of the second property using the excess credits from the first. Next, property valuation. Homes with net metering installations are valued much higher in the real estate market. It's like selling a house that comes with a lifetime discount on utilities. Next, environmental credits. You also get to keep the renewable energy certificates. Large corporations are now looking to buy these certificates from residential owners to meet their green goals, which could eventually become an extra income stream for you. Hindi lang ito tungkol sa bawas bill. Isipin nyo yung return on investment. Kung gumastos ka ng sabihin natin 150,000 sa solar panels at ang binili mo ay bumababa mula 5,000 to 500 monthly, mababawi mo yung ginastos mo in less than 4 to 5 years. Pagkatapos nun, pure savings na siya for the next 20 years. Plus, hindi ka lang nakakatipid, nakakatulong ka pa sa kalikasan. You are reducing the carbon footprint on your entire barangay every time you export clean energy. How will DU monitor the excess energy? Your old electric meters is likely unidirectional. So, 100 lang yung nababasa niya. It only knows how to move forward. If you push power back, it either stops or glitches. To join the program, the DU replaces your meter with a bidirectional meter. The 3 registers. A bidirectional meter doesn't just show one number. It cycles through different digital displays. The positive or the import, where the total energy you took from the grid. Negative or the export, which is the total energy you gave to the grid. And the net, the calculation of the two. In addition to main meter, at your gate, the DU might install a second meter near your solar inverter. This meter tracks the total solar production. This is important because the government wants to track exactly how much solar energy is being produced in the Philippines to report it to international climate bodies. Paano nga ba ito binabasa? Yung bagong kontador na ikakabit sa inyo ay high-tech. Mayroon itong digital screen na nagpapalit-palit ng readings. Kita doon kung gaano karami ang pumasok na kuryente, kung gaano karami ang lumabas. Pagdating ng billing period, ang DU system ay kukunin yung export total mo, i-multiply sa generation rate, at isusubtract yon sa total bill mo. Napaka-accurate nito dahil digital at nakalink na ito via wireless signal sa main office ng utility company nyo. Wala nang human error sa pagbabasa. Who are qualified to participate in the program? The program is designed for distributed generation. This means it's for small producers. The limit is 100 kilowatts. To give you context, a 100 kilowatt system is huge. It can cover the roof of a large grocery store or a small school. Most houses only need 3 kilowatts to 10 kilowatts. If you stay under 100 kilowatts, you are automatically eligible for the simplified net metering rules. The legal and technical checklist. First, ownership. The electric account must be in your name, or you must have an authorized lease or consent if you are a tenant. Good standing. You cannot have outstanding unpaid bills or a history of tampering with the meter. Next, safety certification or CFEI. You must get a certificate of financial electrical inspection from your city or municipal hall. This ensures your wiring won't cause a fire. Anti-islanding protection. Your solar inverter must be a smart model that shuts down if the grid goes out. If this is non-negotiable safety rule. Kahit sino ay pwedeng sumali basta hindi ka lalagpas sa 100 kilowatts. So, yun yung pinaka-maximum niya. Hindi ka pwedeng tumaas doon. Kahit sari-sari store, maliit na simbahan o simpleng bahay, pasok kayo. Ang kailangan lang ay legal ang connection nyo. Hindi pwedeng jump out or illegal connection. Kailangan din na ang inyong solar system ay installed ng mga licensed professionals dahil kailangan nyo yun ng pirma ng electrical engineer para sa LGU permits. Safe dapat ang system para hindi madumihan ang quality ng kuryente sa inyong neighborhood. So, what are the consequences of not applying? So, the financial disaster or the double billing. This is the most ironic consequence. If you install solar panel and connect them to the grid without applying for net metering, you will likely see your bill increase. Why? Because old meters cannot tell difference between in and out. Kasi nga, unidirectional ito. It sees your exported solar energy as usage and adds it to your bill. You are adds it to your bill. You are literally paying the company for the energy you are giving them for free. So yung mga nagawa sobra mo na power ay pumupunta sa grid. And dahil yung sa luma mong electric meter ay unidirectional, so lahat ng dumadaan doon ay tinetake niya as a bawas doon sa may grid kahit napabalik yon. Kaya nadadagdag yun sa bill mo. So yun yung isang consequence pag hindi ka nag-apply ng net metering. So imbis na mamumura ka, ay nadadagdagan pa ito dahil yung sobra na produce ng solar panels mo ay binabayaran mo rin. So next, the safety liability. This is the most serious part. If there is a power outage in your area, utility linemen will go out to fix the wires. They expect those wires to be dead. However, if your solar system is still exporting power, because you didn't have it properly inspected and registered, you could electrocute and kill a worker. So, safety. Yung mga lineman, so, di ba tuwing magkakaroon ng maintenance, nagkakaroon ng power shutdown para makapagawa yung mga lineman. So, during those shutdown, ang iniisip ng mga lineman natin ay patay yung kuryente. And kung meron kang naproproduce na kuryente na nakakonekta sa grid pero hindi naka-net metering and hindi ka gumagamit ng inverter na nag-auto-off tuwing walang power ang grid, ay maaaring perwisyo at makapagdulot ng disgrasya sa mga lineman dahil hindi nila alam na mayroong kuryente na galing sa iyo at maaari silang makuryente at mamatay. Next, the legal risk. Operating an unregistered grid tie system can be considered a violation of the Anti-Pilferage Act. The DU can cut your power, confiscate your equipment, and fine you for tampering with the grid's stability. So marami ang nagsasabi na hassle ang permit. Ikabit na lang natin ito ng palihim. Naku, iwasan po natin yan. Una, lugi ka. Sisingilin ka ng Meralco or ng NECO sa kuryenteng ikaw ang nag-produce. Pangalawa, safety risk. Isipin nyo kung may lineman na inaayos yung poste tapos yung solar nyo ay nagbaburn pa rin ng kuryente pabalik sa grid. Pwede silang mamatay at kayo ang may pananagutan sa batas. Mas mabuti nang dumaan sa tamang proseso para legal ka na, safe ka pa, at talagang makakatipid ka. So, kaya kailangan talaga na kapag tayo ay merong grid tie solar system, ay magpakabit din tayo ng net metering at syempre hindi lang basta magpapakabit. So, syempre kailangan din natin mag-secure ng mga proper documents na manggagaling sa DUs. So, yan.
Good day everyone, I am Julian Miel S. Pangilinan and I'm here to present about wirings and electrical design in solar power home system. As solar energy becomes more popular around the world, many homes are now using solar panels to reduce electricity costs and help protect the environment. However, aside from installing solar panels, it's also very important to understand the proper wiring and electrical design of a solar power home system. In this report, we will talk about the following topics: circuit connection, grid tie circuit, recommended wiring for safety, wire sizings, 4 types of wires, American wire gauge or AWG, and photovoltaic wire. Let us begin in circuit connection in solar power home. A solar power is made up of several electrical components connected together to produce and distribute electrical safety. These components include solar panels, charge controller, battery, inverter, circuit breaker, and electrical loads or appliances. The solar panel collects sunlight and connect it into direct current or DC electricity. The electricity then flow through wires toward the charge controller. The charge controller regulates the voltage and currently going to battery to prevent overcharging. The battery stores electrical energy for later use, and after that the inverter converts DC electricity into alternating current or AC electricity, which is type of electricity used by most household appliances. There are 2 common ways of connecting solar panels. The series connection. In series connection, the positive terminal of one panel is connected to the negative terminal of another panel. This connection increases the voltage while the current remains the same. Example, if two 12 voltage panel are connected in series, the total voltage becomes 24. In parallel connection, all positive terminals are connected together and all negative terminals are connected together. This connection increase the current while maintaining the same voltage. Example, two 12 panels connected in parallel still produce 12 volts but the current doubles. Proper circuit connection is important because incorrect wiring can damage equipment and create electrical hazards. Let us discuss naman about the grid tie circuit. A grid tie solar system is connected directly to the utility power grid. This means the home can use both solar and electricity from the electric company. During daytime, the solar panel generate electricity. If the solar system produces more electricity than the household needs, the excess power is sent back to the grid. At night, during cloudy weather, the house automatically gets electricity from the utility grid. The main component of grid tie current circuit are solar panel, grid tie inverter, AC disconnect switch, net meter, and utility grid connection. The grid tie inverter is very important because it synchronizes the solar power with the voltage and frequency of the utility grid. One advantage of grid tie system is lower electricity bill. Another advantage is the battery are not always required, making the system less expensive. However, during a power outage, most grid tie system automatically shut down for safety purposes to protect utility workers repairing power lines. Now, let's move to the recommended wiring for safety. Safety is the one of the most important part of solar installation. Improper wiring may cause electric shock, fire, short circuit, equipment damage. To ensure the following practice, these are the recommended. First is use proper insulation. Wires should have strong insulation to protect against heat, moisture, and sunlight. Second, install circuit breaker and fuses. Circuit breaker and fuses to protect the system from overcurrent and short circuit. Third one is provide proper grounding. Grounding help prevents electric shock and protect equipment from lightning and electrical surge. Fourth one is avoid loose connection. Loose wire can overheat and start fire. All terminals should be tightened properly. Fifth one is use conditions and conditions and cable trays. Conduits protect wire from physical damage, water, and pests. Sixth one is follow electrical codes. Installation should be follow national and local electrical standard for safety operation. Always remember that safety should never be ignored when working with electricity. Next part is wiring size. The next topic is wiring size, referred to the selecting of the correct wire thickness or diameter for electrical connection. Choosing the proper wire size is very important because wire are too small. If the wire is too small, it can lead to overheat, causing energy loss and possible fire hazard. Several factors affecting wiring sizing: current or amperage, voltage, distance of the wire run, temperature, type of insulation, large current, required thickness thicker wire. For example, small lightning circuit may use smaller wires. Next, solar battery connection usually require large wire because they carry higher current. Proper wire sizing helps improve efficiency, reduce voltage drop, increase system reliability. Electricians often use wire sizing chart and electrical codes to determine the correct wire sizing. Four types of wires. Now let's discuss the four types of wire commonly used in solar powered home system. THHN wire. THHN wire stands for thermoplastic high heat resistance nylon coated wire. This wire is commonly used for indoor electrical wiring because it is heat resistant and durable. Next is the PV wire, stands for photovoltaic wire. This wire is specifically designed for solar panel system and can withstand sunlight, heat, moisture, and outdoor condition. Used to wire means the underground service entrance wire. It is commonly used for underground solar installation because it is moisture resistant. Fourth one is the battery cable. Battery cable are thick, flexible wire to connect battery and inverters. They can carry high current safely and are usually made with copper conductors. Each type of wire has specific uses depending on the location and purpose of the installation. Part 6 is the American Wire Gauge or AWG. AWD, also known as American Wire Gauge, is standard system used to measure the diameter or thickness of electrical wires. The AWG number helps electricians identify how much current a wire can safely carry. An important thing to remember is smaller AWG number means thicker wire. Large AWG number means thinner wire. For example, 10 AWG requires is thicker than 14 AWG wire. 4 AWG wire is thicker than 8 WG wire. Thicker wire can carry more electrical current safely. AWG is more important in solar because incorrect wire size may cause excessive heat, voltage drop, reduced inefficiency, and fire hazard. This is what proper AWG selection is necessary for safe and efficient solar installation. Next part is the photovoltaic wire. Finally, let us discuss photovoltaic wire, commonly called PV wire. PV wire is a special type of wire, special type of electric wire designed specifically for solar power system. It is commonly used to connect solar panel, combiner box, inverter, and charge controller. PV wires are different from ordinary wires because they are built to withstand harsh outdoor conditions such as extreme heat, rain, UV radiation from sunlight, moisture, and chemical exposure. Most PV wires use copper conductors because copper has excellent conductivity and durability. Features of PV wires include flammable resistance, weather resistance, flexible, and long service life. Using the correct photovoltaic wires help ensure system safety, better efficiency, longer equipment lifespan. To conclude, the wiring and electrical design are very important parts of solar power home system. Proper circuit connection, safe wiring practices, incorrect wire sizing, and the use of appropriate wire types to help ensure the solar system operate efficiently and safely. Understanding concepts such as a grid tie concept, AWG sizing, and photovoltaic wires also help installers and homeowners avoid electrical problem and improve system performance. As the demand of renewable energy continues to grow, knowledge about solar electrical system becomes more important for the future. Thank you for listening, and we hope you learned something for our presentation about solar power home system.
Good day everyone! Today, i-discuss ko ngayon ang system design and computation in solar photovoltaic or PV systems. So, solar energy is now becoming one of the most important renewable energy sources in the world because it helps reduce electricity costs, decreases dependence on fossil fuels, and promote cleaner energy production. Pero, ang pag-i-install ng solar panels ay hindi lamang tungkol sa pag-place ng panels sa roof. A solar PV system must be properly designed and computed to ensure that it is safe for operation, efficient in energy production, reliable for long-term use, and compliant with electrical standards such as the PEC, or also known as Philippine Electric Code. So, ang hindi proper na sizing ng wires, breakers, inverters, and protective devices ay maaaring magdulot ng overheating, voltage drops, poor efficiency, equipment damage, at sunog. So, kaya ang pag-design and computation ay napakahalaga para sa bawat solar installation. So, sa presentation na to, ang i-discuss natin ay ang following na PV conductor sizing using PEC standards, series and parallel connections of solar panels, inverter sizing, DC and AC breaker sizing, and surge protection devices or SPD, solar panel orientation at zero bill computation. So pagtapos ng report ito, dapat maintindihan natin na kung paano ang proper na PV design and from calculations up to proper component selection and system protection. So una, dito tayo sa conductor sizing. Ang conductor sizing ay ang process ng pagpili ng tamang size ng conductor that can carry electrical current without overheating with minimal voltage drop. So in PV systems, this is very important because solar panels continuously generate electricity during daytime operations. So kung ang wire mo ay undersized, pwede ito maging sobrang init. And ang sobrang init ay isang waste of energy or maaaring madamage ang system. So step 1, get the PV current. First, we obtain the short circuit current or the ISC of the solar panel. So halimbawa, meron kang ISC na 9.75 amperes. So ang short circuit current ay ito ang maximum current na kayang i-produce ng panel under ideal sunlight conditions. So next ay i-apply natin ang tamang apply correction factors. So according sa PEC standards, ang PV systems ay kinoconsider na continuous loads. So, ibig sabihin nito ay kailangan din mag-apply ng dalawang safety factor na 125%. So, kung halimbawa meron kang 9.75 amperes, kailangan mo siyang i-times sa dalawang 1.25. So, 9.75 ampere multiplied by 1.25, then multiply again by 1.25, ang magiging result mo ay 15.23 amperes. Ibig sabihin nito na ang conductor ay kailangan niya safely carry ng at least 15.23 amperes. So step 3, select wire based on ampacity. So sa stable kanina, titignan natin na ang ampacity table ng PEC. So typical THHN wire ampacity. So number 14 THHN wire can carry 25 amperes, while number 12 THHN wire can carry 30 amperes. So although yung number 14 is kaya mag-carry ng current, hindi siya generally recommended for PV installation kasi future corrections may reduce its allowable ampacity. Therefore, ang pipiliin natin ay ang number 12 kasi it provides better safety margin and durability. So step 4, temperature correction. Now we apply ambient temperature correction. So sa Philippines, ang rooftop ay kadalasan na sobrang init, lalo na sa summer. So i-assume natin na ang ambient temperature dito sa Pilipinas ay 37 degrees Celsius. So from the correction table, the correction factor is 0.91. So yung 30 amperes, i-multiply natin sa 0.91, ang result ay 27 amperes. After temperature correction, the wire can now safely carry 27 amperes. So step 5, ang roof heat adjustment. Since ang wire natin ay naka-install malapit sa roof, additional heat must be considered. So ang PEC ay nire-recommend na mag-add ng approximately 22 degrees Celsius. So ang 37 ampere i-plus natin sa 22 amperes, ang 37 i-plus natin sa 22 equals 59 degrees Celsius. At 59 degrees Celsius, the correction factor becomes 0.71. So 27 amperes times 0.71, ang result natin ay 19.17 amperes. The adjusted ampacity is now 19.17, and since 19.17 ay mas mataas pa rin sa required na 15.23 amperes, the conductor is still acceptable. This shows why correction factors are important because actual field conditions significantly reduce wire ampacity. So step 6 ay ang voltage drop check. Kailangan i-check ang voltage drop kasi ito ang loss of voltage caused by wire resistance. Excessive voltage drop reduces system efficiency and wastes power as heat. Ang PEC ay nire-recommend na ang maximum voltage drop of 3%. So sa example natin kasi, ang computed voltage drop natin is 0.92 volts. The percentage voltage drop is 2.85%. Since 2.85% is lower than the 3% limit, the selected number 12 THHN conductor is acceptable. So overall, the conductor passed all requirements: current capacity, temperature correction, proof heat correction, and voltage drop limitation. So next ay ang PV connections. Ang solar panel ay pwede mo connect in two main ways: series connection at parallel connection. Itong connection na to ay nakaka-apekto sa voltage and current ng buong sistema. Sa isang series connection, ang voltage ay tumataas habang ang current ay stays the same. For example, ang isang panel ay mayroong 40 volts at 9.75 amperes. Then, yung 3 panels connected in series will become 120 volts at 9.75 amperes. Series connections ay madalas na ginagamit to match inverter voltage requirements. Next naman ay ang parallel connection. Sa parallel connection, ang current ay tumataas habang ang voltage ay stays the same. So using the example, 3 panels connected in parallel will become 40 volts and 29.25 amperes. Parallel connections are useful when higher current is needed. Ang importance ng proper connection ay the choice between series and parallel effects, inverter compatibility, wire sizing, breaker sizing, system efficiency, and shading performance. Kaya mahalaga na ang proper PV configuration ay sobrang halaga para sa system design. Susunod naman ay ang inverter sizing. The inverter sizing ay kinoconsider na heart of the solar PV system kasi it converts DC electricity from solar panels into AC electricity para sa mga household appliances. So ano nga ba ang rule sa inverter sizing? A common rule is that the inverter rating should be approximately 10 to 20% higher than the PV system size. This allowance help the inverter operate efficiently and handle variations in solar production. So ang sample computation nito ay suppose na meron tayong PV system size is 2,000 watts. At 10% allowance, ito ay magiging 2,000 watts multiplied by 1.1 o kaya 10%, ang resulta nito ay 2,200 watts. Therefore, ang recommended inverter is 2.2 kilowatt inverter. Ayan. So, ano nga ba ang importance of proper inverter sizing? Kapag ang inverter ay sobrang liit, solar energy may be clipped or wasted, the inverter may overload. So kapag sobrang laki naman ng inverter, efficiency decreases, and initial cost becomes higher. Therefore, ang tamang pagpili ng inverter size ay ini-improve ang system performance, equipment lifespan, at energy conversion reliability. Next naman ay ang DC and AC breaker sizing. Ang breakers protect the system from overcurrent, short circuits, and electrical faults. Proper breaker sizing is essential for safety. DC breaker sizing. So sa DC breaker sizing, ang PEC ay nagre-require na mag-multiply the maximum current by 125%. So earlier, meron tayong na-compute na 15.23 amperes. I-multiply natin ito sa 125% o kaya 1.25. Ang resulta ay 19.04 amperes. The next standard breaker size is 20 amp DC breaker. This breaker protects the PV array and conductor from excessive current. Sa AC breaker naman, suppose na meron tayong 1,000 watts and system voltage ay 220 volts. To get the current, divide the power by voltage. So, 1,000 divided by 220 volts, ang resulta ay 4.5 amperes. Apply natin yung 125% o kaya 1.25, ang resulta ay 5.63 amperes. Ang standard breaker sizing naman is 6 ampere RCBO. Ang RCBO ay nagpo-provide ng overcurrent protection, short circuit protection, and leakage protection, which increases electrical safety. So ngayon, dito naman tayo sa Surge Protection Devices o kaya SPD. Ang SPD ang nagprotekta sa solar equipment mula sa lightning surges, switching surges, and sudden voltage spikes. So kapag walang SPD, ang mga sensitive na devices like inverters ay maaring maapektuhan at madamage. So ano nga ba ang mga important SPD parameters? So ang UC, ibig sabihin ito ay ang maximum continuous operating voltage. Ang IN naman, ang nominal discharge current. At ang Imax ay ang maximum surge current. At ang UP ay ang voltage protection or clamping voltage. So ano nga ba ang rule kapag sa pagpili ng SPD? The SPD voltage rating should be around 15 to 25% higher than the system voltage. This prevents nuisance tripping while still protecting the equipment. Halimbawa, sa DC natin, ang approximate natin na 100 to 120 volts SPD. Sa AC naman, ang gagamitin natin na SPD ay approximately 230 to 275 volts. Proper SPD installations greatly improve system protection and reliability. Next naman ay ang solar panel orientation. Ang tamang panel orientation ay nakakatulong ma-maximize ang solar energy collection throughout the year. So ano nga ba ang panel direction dito sa Pilipinas? Since ang Pilipinas ay nalolocate sa Northern Hemisphere, ang panel natin ay dapat nakatapat sa south. This allows maximum sunlight exposure during the daytime. Ano nga ba dapat ang tilt angle? Ang tilt angle na nire-recommend ay 12 to 14 degrees. This angle is close to the latitude of many locations in the Philippines. Ang general rule natin ay ang kapag malapit ang isang bansa sa equator, ibig sabihin mas mababa ang tilt angle. Kapag malapit naman sa pole, dapat mas steep ang tilt angle toward the equator. So, ang proper orientation ay in-improve ang daily energy production, seasonal performance, and overall system efficiency. Even a few degrees incorrect orientation may reduce total solar power output. So, dapat tama ang orientation natin ng angle. And finally, dito tayo sa pag-compute ng required system size for a zero electricity bill. The goal is to generate enough solar energy to match household consumption. So una, kukunin natin ang monthly energy consumption. So, suppose natin na ang isang household ay nagko-consume ng 300 kilowatt hours per month. So, kunin natin ang daily consumption nito. So, yung 300 kilowatt hours per month, i-divide natin by 30 days. So, ang resulta ay ang 10 kilowatt hours per day. Tapos, itong kilowatt hours per day, i-convert natin sa watt hours. Then, ito ang 10 kilowatt hours per day ay magiging 10,000 watt hours per day. Sunod naman ay ang solar system sizing. So, average peak sun hours in the Philippines is around 5 hours. So, to get the required solar size, ang 10,000 na nakuha natin ay divide natin sa 5 hours. So, ang resulta ay ang 2,000 watts. So, the PV array is approximately 2 kilowatts. Ngayon naman ay mag-add tayo ng system losses. Solar systems ay nag-experience ng system loss dahil sa heat, wiring, dust, inverter efficiency, and shading. So, mag-add tayo ng 10% allowance para sa system loss. So, 2,000 watts times multiplied by 1.1 o kaya 10%. Ang resulta ay ang 2,200 watts. So, the required system size becomes 2.2 kilowatts. Step 5 naman ay i-determine natin ang number of panels. So, kung ang bawat panel ay nag-rate ng 300 watts, then divide natin to sa 2,200. So, 2,200 divided by 3,300. Ang sagot dito ay 7.33. Since hindi tayo pwede mag-install ng 1/3 ng panel, kailangan natin mag-round up. So, 8 solar panels ang kailangan. Ibig sabihin, approximately 300 panels ang kailangan para zero ang electricity bill. In conclusion, conductorizing ensures safe current handling and acceptable voltage drop. Series and parallel connections affect system voltage and current behavior. Inverterizing ensures proper DC to AC conversion. DC and AC breakers provide overcurrent protection based on PEC standards, and SPD protects the system from lightning and voltage surges. Proper panel orientation, it maximizes solar energy production and zero bill computation naman ang tumutulong sa atin mag-determine ng required PV system size for household consumption. Overall, proper system design and computation is essential in creating a safe, efficient, reliable, and cost-efficient solar PV installation. By following proper standards and calculations, we can ensure that solar energy systems perform efficient while maintaining electrical safety. Yun lamang ang aming report. Thank you sa panonood.